estate planning, and 3 crucial tax issues, what you need to know. Estate and gift taxes and the coming cliff. What do you need to know?
What's the current law? This year, an individual can pass along $12.92 million to the next generation without exposure to the punishing 40% estate tax. If you're a married couple, it's double that amount. January 1, 2026, the current levels of protection expire. The legislation that extended that protection sunsets. So at that point in time, the level of protection goes from about 13 million down to about 6.5 million per person. Now, that's still a lot of money, no question about it. But if you own homes around here, if you're a single person, if your estate's around 5 million now, it's going to grow. Property values grow. Your investments, we are optimists. We believe they're going to grow. So at some point in time, you're likely to have an estate that's going to be exposed to the estate tax. And that assumes it stays at 6.5 million. We're looking at this dramatic change in the level of estate tax protection. If you're a couple and your estate is worth maybe 9 or 10 million, again, think about growth. There's going to be exposure. So if there is, there are some pretty straightforward, manageable steps you can take right now to lock in protection, to just be kind of circumspect. Plan for the future. Make sure you're not going to be exposed to this tax.
And keep in mind, life insurance benefits, that's all part of your taxable estate, retirement accounts, savings, investments. So your estate is almost certainly larger than you think.
If you own property in another country, that counts. When we ask somebody what the size of their estate is, if they just kind of think it over, they'll come up with a number. Consistently, they're about 20% too low.
Yeah. What you can do to reduce estate tax exposure if you're worried about this, we want to plan for success. If you have a larger estate, if you're already close to these limits, you definitely need to plan. As we get close to 2026, one simple technique is, well, you max out your exemption, you give it all away. While you're still around, use up that 12.92 million. And then when it drops, okay, well, you don't have any left, but you already used 12.92 million. And it is use it or lose it. If you give away 6 million right before it drops to 6 million, you think, oh, I have 6 million left, so I should be good. No. They will count whatever you've already given away against whatever the new limit is. There's a lot of tools we can use. So Mike already talked about charitable remainder trust. There are spousal lifetime access trusts where one spouse uses his or her exemption, locks it in by creating a trust for their spouse. There's the concept of discounting, which is something when I came into this field, I was like, what? So discounting at a high level, I think this is an important concept. We'll talk about this more in other webinars and videos. But let's say you have a house with $1 million. If you give away 50% of it, well, that seems like that's $500,000 worth, right? The IRS understands, though, that you can't really sell half of a house, right? That's very complicated. It's tricky. So you get to discount the value of that gift. So if you give away half of a house worth $1 million, you can often get discounts of 20 or 30%, sometimes even more on the value of that gift. So you can give away what really in essence can be on paper $500,000 in value, but you only have to use up $350,000 of your estate tax exemption. You made $150,000 basically vanish for estate tax purposes. It's not that simple. Don't quote me on those exact numbers. If you're single and you have an estate in the $4 to $5 million range right now, including your house, we need to talk about this. And if you're a couple in the $8 to $10 million range, we need to start thinking about this. We need to think about the structure of your trust and all these techniques we can use.
So what is the Crummey Trust? Why do I like it so much? Most grandparents are interested in doing something supportive for the grandkids. You set up this trust and you're going to be shifting money into it every year without details. You can't use this $17,000 annual exclusion, giving it away, if it's going to go to an irrevocable trust. It lets us use a technique to cleanse the gift to make sure that we can use, for a couple, the $34,000 annual exclusion to put money into a trust for a grandkid. Now, I generally prefer this to 529 plans, but with the Crummey Trust, you have much more flexibility. Rather than using the money only for education, and you can use the money for education for the kid, you can use it for healthcare. You can use it for housing, much more flexible. Also, as a practical matter, a 529 plan kind of ages out when the kid is done with education. You can set up this trust so that it doesn't terminate until the child is 35 or 40, any age that you pick. Somebody would be the trustee of that trust. Presumptively, it would be one of that kid's parents, your kid. So you're not going to control it. The money's going to be removed from your estate. You're locking in the support for the benefit of that great grandchild. That's why I call it the grandparent's delight.
Laws change all the time, but we already see this coming cliff in 2026. So if you already have a larger estate, talk to us. Mike also wrote a book called Beat Estate Tax Forever. If you are a current client, talk to us. We can give it to you on a discounted basis for meeting with us. We'll usually give you a copy. If you're not a client, you can order it on Amazon, gilfix.com. Pretty easy to find us, gilfix.com. We'd love to get the chance to meet with you. If we worked with you in the past and it's been a while, hey, let's set a review meeting and we can help you with all of this and to sort through what issues you need to be aware of. Call us at 650-493-8070. I hope everybody's staying safe, sane, and healthy. Stay tuned for more. Give us a call.